Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Addie and this is my June wrap up. So I will be talking about the 7 books that I read in the month of June. So bear with me, I am all over the place. I am currently taking a break from some home renovation painting stuff, so I have been doing that for a really long time and we've been working on that all month. So it's been a little bit hard to get some like reading in because I've been doing that, and I've also been studying for some tests for a potential job opportunity, and who knows what's gonna happen. It's all over the place. But I read 7 books, so that's good. I'm just gonna go in chronological order. My computer has 6%. I'm reading off of that, so we're gonna try to get through this really quickly. So the first book that I read was Saga Book 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. This is a graphic novel, comic book kind of type thing. It was absolutely fabulous. I enjoyed it so much. I, of course, only read book 1, which is the first 18 chapters of Saga, so I kind of just set the background, I feel like. Okay, so basically what happens in this story is that there is a planet and there is a moon to that planet, and those people do not get along, and they have been at civil war, and the civil war has moved from their planets and their moon to the rest of the galaxy, and so it has expanded and it just engulfed basically everything. And what the story is about is these two soldiers, so there's one from the planet and one from the moon, and they fall in love with each other and they have this child, and now everybody is out trying to find these people, and it's them trying to like escape and to find someplace safe where they can raise their child. So it is narrated by the child and it's like super good. I absolutely adore it. It's freaking amazing. It's 4 or 5 stars. Cannot wait to get a hold of the second book. So that's that one. The next book that I read was The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the last book in the Raven cycle. So if you've read any of those, it's just the end of that. I really wanted to know how this was all going to end. I really enjoyed it. I do have to say, I think it was a little convenient how it ended, but I'm not gonna hold that too much against it. I initially gave this book 5 stars, but I'm thinking, like, looking back on it now, that the ending really did seem quite convenient to me, so I might go back and change that to like a 4 star, because it just, I don't know. I was just so caught up in the moment that I was just all like, I freaking love this. So I have evaluated it a little bit, and I think I can be a little bit more objective and go back and say, I think this is maybe more of a 4-star book than a 5-star book, but I really enjoyed it. The book I read immediately after that was Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater, which is the story that focuses on Ronin and people like Ronin, which is super cool, and that kid is in for a hard life. That is all I have to say about it. But other than that, I do think that Call Down the Hawk is kind of something that's more up my alley than the Raven cycle, just in general. Like, I enjoyed that story much more than I did the Raven cycle, which I enjoyed the Raven cycle, but like looking back on it, I'm like, is that all there was to it, you know? But I feel like with Call Down the Hawk, there's a lot more that's getting fleshed out and a lot more that's, you know, like kind of wild and crazy, and I enjoy that about it. So there's those 2 books. I gave them both 5 stars, but I think I'm gonna take 1 star away from the Raven King, because I think that looking back on it, I do think that the ending was super convenient on that one. So after that, I read Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. This is the 2nd book in the Lunar Chronicles, and it is about Scarlet Benoit and her whole thing. Basically, it's like a Little Red Riding Hood kind of retelling, and so that's wicked cool. She meets this dude called Wolf. He's a street fighter. She can't really figure out like what's his deal, and then her grandmother has gone missing and she doesn't know what's going on there, and so she's trying to find her grandmother, and she thinks Wolf might have some information because of this tattoo, and so they kind of go on this adventure and try to figure things out there. When I tell you that I know what the Little Red Riding Hood storyline is, that I understand that the whole thing is like the wolf is being like the big bad wolf kind of type thing, where he's just like, I have your grandma, I'm pretending to be your grandma, like blah blah blah, and it, like he betrays her kind of. Like, when I say that I was completely shook when the climax hit, like I was completely shook when the climax hit, even knowing that, and I'm like, you should know better, but you don't. You never do. You never ever do. Climax is not what I'm talking about, but like that point where something happens, you know what I mean? I'm trying not to spoil this too much. At a certain point in this book, I was like, you should have known this was coming, but you didn't, and it came at you in a way that you were not expecting. So yeah, I was not very smart reading that book, but we'll go on. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 or 5 stars. It's switched up between Scarlet's point of view and Kai from the first book's point of view, and also from Cinder's point of view. So there was a lot going on there, and that is why that book was a chunk and why it intimidated me before I started reading it. But I do have to say, I finished all of it in like 48 hours. So the next book that I ended up reading was How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi, and this was just something that I've been wanting to read, and I got a hold of it at the library. I was really happy to read it and, you know, like think about and let that marinate and everything. One of the things that really stuck out to me, because I am from Oklahoma, there was a portion of it where he was talking about the model minority and how that was based on the 5 civilized tribes. And like, I'm from Oklahoma. We are basically founded on the 5 civilized tribes because those are the tribes that were kicked out of where they were from and sent to Oklahoma. And of course there are other tribes and stuff like that, and I just, when he was talking about it, I was thinking about how like my classmates and stuff that are not parts of those 5 civilized tribes had to sit through our history classes where they teach that to them, and like had to sit through that and be like told that their like tribes were not as good as these other big tribes and everything. Like, and I just thought, you know, like, things you just never have to confront when you don't have to think about it. And so that point stuck out to me, and I learned a lot of stuff while I was reading it, and there was a lot of things. I had like 13 pages of notes on it. Like, it was enough that I could like pull out the section of my notes and like highlight them in the book that I was taking notes on. So that was good. Information wise, it was like a 5 of 5 stars for me because like I learned from it. So that was what I enjoyed with that one, and I thought it was written well and it was very engaging. So hey guys, Editing Addie here, and I just wanted to expand on How to Be an Anti-Racist because I don't think that I talked about all the things that I wanted to talk about when I got to it at that point in that day. So when I first filmed this, I just didn't cover the things that I wanted to cover. So I wanted to come in and talk a little bit more about it. The major thing that I wanted to talk about is the thesis, and basically what Kendi is saying is that it is not enough to just be not racist. You have to actively be anti-racist, which means that you need to stop examining yourself at an individual level and start examining yourself as you work within the systems that are oppressing people. And I feel like that's a very, very important idea at this point in time. These are not things that you are going to change individually within your own self. These are things that need to be like legislated, and they need to be expanded upon in a larger playing field than just your own personal battles. That's what's going on. I will talk to you later. Goodbye. So the next book that I read was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This was like a 3-star read for me, which is just, I don't really read books like that, and it was cute, it was fine, absolutely, like, glad I read it, but it wasn't anything like special to me. I was excited that the protagonist was autistic and that she, you know, found a way to make the world work for her and everything like that, and I thought that was very cool. I loved the concept, I thought that was great. I just don't really like books like that, I don't think. Like, I haven't found any that are just like right there for me. So the last book that I finished was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is an audiobook that I listened to while I was painting, so this was good. Brie was super awesome. She wants to be a rapper. Her dad was also a rapper, and he unfortunately died due to gang violence, and her mom was like a drug addict, and she is in recovery, and they're trying to make ends meet, and she has an older brother that's trying to help out, and they are all just like, the story is just kind of about Brie trying to go after her dreams while also her family is in this really tough situation. And it was just really good, really fun. I really liked her rapping, and I loved her attitude, and I really liked how they talked about how the difference between how black girl attitudes are treated versus white girl attitudes, and like, and how like people are much more harsh on black girls when things are happening, and how like they are seen to have an attitude problem or that they are aggressive, whereas like white girls could say the same thing, and like none of that is ever, like, they're just speaking their mind or something like that. So I really enjoyed it. It was, I didn't actually rate it. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. I haven't updated my spreadsheet. That was that. The other books that I've started this month that I haven't finished yet are The Bone Witch and American Royals, and I'm hoping to finish those up pretty soon. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video. If you like this, please hit like. If you really liked it, hit subscribe. And if you would like to discuss the ending of the Raven cycle with me, please let me know. You can contact me on social media. I will leave those links in my description box below, and I would love to discuss that with anybody at this point. So yeah, that is it. I hope you have a wonderful second half of the year and that you are safe and everything is good. So I will talk to you later. Goodbye.